Any questions today? How about right here in the middle?
Hey, Coach, could you talk about Malcolm Kennedy and what the impact he has had on this season so far?
No, I've talked about Malcolm Kennedy a bunch this year just from I thought a year ago after Alabama, obviously a big catch at Alabama, really kind of jump-started who he is today. Second half of the year, he played very, very well, had a great offseason, we expected, based on his off-season, spring, and during fall camp, for him to be a real threat for us this year, and he hasn't disappointed.
Up front, Jimmy?
Yeah. Coach, obviously your defense made some significant strides Saturday as you've broken down the videotapes. What else has jumped out at you other than what you shared after the game?
No, we were able to play a lot of different people, which is always a good thing. It's even better when a lot of those guys play well. And I think, the rotation up front kept us fresh and gave us a little bit more energy than maybe we've had in the past, instead of playing a couple different guys. Everybody's a little reluctant with freshmen just to get them in there, and we were able to. At one time, I looked out there, and just about everybody out there was a freshman in that front seven, except for, we got Donnie Baggs back and played him in some heavy set situations. Obviously, Darian's been playing. Jordan Master-Giovanni played some significant snaps. Noel Ellis, I thought, really did a nice job for us. Deshaun Hall, Hardrick Walker. There's a whole all-freshman deal going on out there at one point. But, we were rotating guys in and out. I think at this point, what happens is for them to have some success Saturday, I thought was important, and hopefully, we were better. We're not great by any means, but we're better, and hopefully, because of some success, particularly by the young guys, and some success as a defense, we'll continue to get better and gain some confidence from that, because that's going to be important moving forward. We get the onside kick, put our defense in a bad position right there. So, it's a team that scored 25 points against everybody all year, something like that. Somebody told me, and we should get the onside kick there and not give them that short field. And if you're at 17, 18 points, I think you got to feel good about it.
Go far right, Gabe, and then Sam.
Coach, wonder if you could take us through the year Darrell Walker's having and what he's doing to take advantage of his opportunity.
He's a little bit like we're just talking about Malcolm. Here's a junior college guy, one of the first guys that we signed when we got here, that was a little bit under the radar, came through spring, really kind of tried to find his niche, and we had to try to find where he could help us a year ago. Did some things good, but he was all right. And then got through spring, and now is playing with real confidence. I think you see the last 3 weeks where he is. It's we talk as coaches. We do that. The hard part about junior college guys is just about the time they figure it out, they're walking out the door. And I'm just glad that he's playing at the level he's playing now, because he's definitely helping us. And I didn't realize that was his first touchdown Saturday, so he was pretty happy about that. So we had to hurry up and get him another one. Hopefully he'll have some more by the end of the year.
We'll go down front, Sam, and then to the back, Chip.
Kevin, I know he played, but how do you proceed with Johnny's practice load in terms of throwing with the health of that shoulder?
What's that?
How do you proceed with the practice load for him as he moves forward with the shoulder?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see how he goes, how he feels. And, he's a really mature player when it comes to practice and communication. I think last week, I think he thought he was going to practice Thursday, and it was just so sore when he came out and warmed up. He was pretty tentative and backed off, and so you run the risk of, will he be ready enough for Friday? I was more worried about really what happened. Him throwing for the first time Friday and then being really sore Saturday, which you got up that morning. And believe it or not, the 11:20 kickoff didn't help that. So, you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and quarterback says his shoulder hurts. It's not a good deal because you don't have till this week at 8:10. We got a whole day to get some things worked out. But, that's all part of it. And I think that says a lot about him and his approach. And so we'll communicate during the week just like we do all the time. But I don't anticipate, Sunday he said he was okay, feeling okay. Yesterday he threw a few balls, so I don't anticipate it being a problem this week.
Also, Alonzo Williams' health status moving forward?
Alonzo, it would be he may or may not play this Saturday.
Okay.
I don't know what the word is. Huh? He's maybe. How's that?
To the back, Chip.
Kevin, what particular challenges are there, if any, of playing a non-conference game in November in the middle of your conference schedule?
There aren't any particular challenges with that. I think really mature teams understand, and what we're trying to do, they understand their level of play comes from what's expected of them, no matter who you're playing and what you have at stake. And I think, you're ignoring things. We're pretty open with our team. We're 6-2. We're bowl eligible, and from here on out, you're playing for better situations in the postseason, whatever those are. And so, in order to do that, you need to be motivated to play, and that usually motivates guys a lot. The level of game that you're talking about in the postseason. I think our guys understand that, and there's a little bit of a carrot out there for them because of that.
Go down front.
Oh, Coach, how's Cedric Oboye looking to play this weekend?
He would be maybe also. I don't know. He's he basically Thursday just he couldn't go, and so we're working through that. I would say that there's a pretty good chance that he'll play. If not, then it would be a precautionary measure, and then we'd have him back for Mississippi State.
Go to the middle here, Ola.
I realize in most cases you would probably look at playing a team with their second string quarterback as a blessing, but are you at all disappointed that Jamil's not going to be taking the snaps for UTEP this week?
Probably not as disappointed as he is. So, that's all part of it.
Down front.
With the idea of taking them one game at a time, do you address with your program the idea that this team could still play in its first BCS Bowl for the first time since 1998? Is that something you dangle out there for
Too
you?
early for that.
What are the goals in front of this team at this point in terms of the program?
Covered them. I said, what you have is once you become bowl eligible, now you start playing for better situations. But you don't control that. What you can do is win as many games as you can because you don't know what's going to happen here down the stretch. So every game becomes important. The reality of the situation is we have the exact same record at the exact same time as we did last year. Some people just don't seem to be as excited about that, but that's the case. And, we still got a lot of things that are out in front of us. But in order to do that, again, it gets back to 1 week at a time. And you have to keep winning to put yourself in better situations.
Go to the back, Darrell, and then down front, Kate.
Coach, can you talk about Mike Evans and Johnny both being on the Maxwell Award and having two guys on that award as they release that list?
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's significant. I also, I'm also puzzled, why people are talking about Mike Evans in the Heisman race, to be honest with you. I think he's as good a player as there is in the country. And people say, well, can you have two guys, that can do that? It wouldn't be the first time. I was on a team at Oklahoma that had Jason White and Adrian Peterson go to New York. So I think, these two guys right now, the way they're playing at a high level, have played at a high level. I don't anticipate that changing. And, I think, what is he, second in the country in yards per game? So, and everybody knows we're going to throw him the ball. And he continues to play at an extremely high level. And so, I think that's right for them to be involved in the Maxwell Award. And like I said, I'm not surprised by that. I'm more surprised that there hadn't been any Heisman talk about him.
Down front, Kate.
Kevin, with this being the last non-conference game, how involved do you like to get with the non-conference schedule? Do you work with Eric on that? And what would you like to see in the future here, non-conference-wise?
Yeah, we communicate on scheduling all the time, and unfortunately, it's not as easy as people think. You can't just call somebody up and say, hey, you want to play? I think some people think that's how it works. Or, the real complicating factor in this has been the change of leagues and erasing schedules and timing of non-conference schedules. You're in a situation right now where we don't have a conference schedule for, 14 or 15?
15.
Yeah. So whether it's going to be 8, 9, or whatever. So there's contracts involved, and most people down the road, you're scheduling games, some people as far out as 2020. And a game that looked good in 2007 may not be as good. A game that you thought would be an easier game in 2007 may not be. So, scheduling is always complicated, and it's more complicated right now for us because of the change of leagues and the dates that are available and opponents. So, basically the last 2 years we've had to scramble to get people to play because of the change of leagues and the change of scheduling. I look for that to settle down a little bit, and you've seen some announcements over the last couple months about future schedules. So, yeah, there's communication with that, but certainly the last 2 years, we've had to really. There's a very limited number of people that were available to play, and I think you saw that happen with us and with Missouri. I think you saw that happen with a couple teams from the Big 12. That when some people left and were scrambling around trying to play the same folks, and when you try to play those same people, they know it too, and all of a sudden the price goes up a lot if they're going to do it. So there's a lot of things that are involved in that, and but certainly we talk about it and try to get as quality an opponent as we can get. And I think the thing that's different about the SEC that people aren't used to is non-conference opponents late in the year, and that we're no different than any other team in that respect, which is probably a lot different. It's a little bit different than what we're used to. I was used to in maybe the Big 12 and certainly the Big 10, and where your non-conference opponents are really at the beginning of the year, and then you settle in the league play. So this league has been like that, for years, and I don't know that that's going to change. We'll see when the new schedules come out. So,
Far right, Gabe.
Coach, just to follow up on Showers, I know he's not playing, but could you tell us a little bit about what he meant to your group last year when he was here, and how much you're looking forward to seeing him again?
You know, he was in a tough situation, and you know, basically, you guys said he was going to start. I never said that. I keep reminding you of that. You know, so in the off season, you know, that put an extra burden on him. He knew where he was internally, and that it was still a quarterback competition. He went through the year, and as a backup quarterback, communicated with me he wanted to, you know, he was going to graduate and transfer and possibly have a couple of years because he graduated so early. And you know, our standard policy is not any different than anybody else's. Well, it is different than a lot of people based on what's happened out there in the last year. You know, our standard policy has been, you know, your transfer is not immediately in conference or anybody on the schedule. And I think that's fair because, you know, if you've put in time and a year or two, or in this case, 3 years of development, and academically, athletically, the money that's spent to really help that young man as a student athlete, you know, you don't want to turn around and play against him when you've put in a bunch of work to develop him. So from an understanding, you know, I know people don't think of it that way, but that's the way I think of it, and I think that's fair. But in this situation, you know, it's different as a quarterback. There's only so many places, people that want you, and they need immediate help in those situations, and particularly if you're not a freshman transferring and you're an older guy. And so there are really only a couple places. I met with he and his dad, and he talked about UTEP, and you know, because of the quality kid that he is, and the situations that were a little bit extenuating. Because of the circumstances of not having a lot of time to play and them needing him, you know, I said, that's okay. And, you know, that's not something we like to do, but, you know, I thought you know, when he was here, he represented the university well, represented our team well and his family well, and you know, it was just unfortunate that, you know, he got caught behind the best player in the country.
Go to the back, Luke.
Coach, can you talk about how social media has really begun to grow and how you guys have embraced it with the Aggie football life and things like that, and why it's important for a program like Texas A&M?
It's important, you know, social media is important for us from, I don't know, 3 or 4 different factors. Number one, we have the ability to get our message out as a marketing tool about who we are, instead of having everybody talk for us or about us who is not here every day, and make some assumptions about our program, make some assumptions about our university, and it gives us a window to tell our story to fans, but certainly to recruits. And Aggie football life is really about utilizing the complete social network board. And we're on everything from Twitter to Pinterest, and an interest to get to recruits and the moms. And there's a reason for that. And yeah, is there an agenda? You bet there's an agenda. And that agenda is for us to be able to talk about who we are, what we're about, what our players are about, what our program's about, and the ability to have that story be told accurately and incorporate our fans as well as our future prospects and keep people interested.
Down front here, Cease. Goes Robert and then KO.
Kevin, a follow-up to that scheduling. Now that you're in the SEC for 2 years, what's your thought on the 8-game versus the 9-game league schedule?
Well, I think I've been pretty clear on it. It doesn't really matter what I think, obviously, but I've been pretty clear on what I thought. I think, the rotation of, I think the 8 games is good. I think this league has shown with strength of schedule in the SEC that those 8 games will be strong games. I think your non-league schedule still got to be strong, but I think an 8 game with a 6-2 format makes sense to me, and with that 2 game rotation format being everybody on the other side, so that you have the ability to, when you recruit, you have the ability almost in 4 years, but if kids there 5 years, have the ability to see every team in the league, and are close to it. Because if you're rotating home and home, and that rotation is maybe every 2 years, you've got the ability to see a bunch of different teams in the East. And I think over time, what that does is you're going to see some strong teams, you're going to see some weaker teams. And who knows who those teams are going to be. People would argue that 5-6 years ago, there were teams in the East were stronger than the teams in the West. Now, who knows what's going on. So over time, I think that rotation will give you just naturally, an equal opportunity to be successful. And I think there's some coaches, as a matter of fact, I know there's some coaches who have voiced their opinion that's not the case right now. And it's easy for me to say that because we're new to the league. When I sit in those meetings and I listen to other coaches and people talk about long-standing rivalries that we're not a part of, but long-standing rivalries that are cross-league, Alabama, Tennessee, teams that have played for a long, long time, that their fans are looking forward to that. I understand their point, but, like I said, we're the new guys. It's easy for me to say, hey, look, let's just go 6-2, rotate everybody, because to me, that makes sense. But, obviously that's where I stand.
Go to the back, KO, and then Brent, you'll wrap us up.
Coach, just general overview for UTEP offense and defense, what you guys have looked at so far?
I think, here's a team that has come into the league with a new coach who I have a lot of respect for. He's a guy who has been an outstanding position coach at different places, and a lot of buddies of mine that they're in the NFL, and shoot, he was at Boise with Marcel Yates, and so I know that he wanted to come in and establish a certain style of play at UTEP, and maybe it was a complete change from personnel of the way UTEP was. So there's a transitional period there. Working very, very hard at it. I see a team that plays very, very hard, has a lot of pride, just like their coach. And this time of year, we got to be on our A game. They're come in here, and whenever you got national TV, people start to get a little bit more excited to play anyway. But this time of year, I think no matter who the opponent is, it's more about you than about who you're playing. We challenged some guys a week ago who had not been really at the forefront because of injury, because of whatever, to play better and give them some significant minutes to play. And that's what this time of year is about, because everybody's beat up, everybody's nicked up. You got guys that don't play in games. I think the story that nobody's really talking about was the ability of our offensive line to operate the way they operated last week with basically moving the whole thing around and moving Jake to right tackle, moving Jarvis from guard to the left tackle, having Gremlin start his first game. And for us to be able to operate the way we did, and nobody talk about that. That's what I'm amazed about.
All right, Brett, you'll wrap us up?
I have to ask, does Bruce Feldman do your Aggie Football Life page, or
No.
is it? He said someone who's here every day. But my real question is about Case Keenum. How proud are you of him in terms of what he did in his first game, and now he's the starter of the Texans?
I think I was on record saying, I thought he was going to do well. He's a guy that has always worked at the game. I think it's just an unbelievable story. He tears up a knee, gets a 6th year. There's a reason why he's the all-time leader in the history of college football in passing yardage, and he's a coach's kid who is just a tremendous player and really a coach on the field. And you look back at the last really 3 years of his life, to 3.5, to have that knee injury, not be ruled eligible until January, and basically have to figure out what you're going to do. January, they give him the opportunity, go through, have the 6th year that he had, and then not be drafted, become an undrafted free agent, go to the Texans, go through the practice squad for a whole year. And really, last Saturday was the first time, I don't think people understand, he hadn't dressed for a regular season game. And to go from not even dressing for a regular season game to starting in the NFL against the #1 defense in the league is a pretty serious matter on the road at Arrowhead Stadium, who had just set a record for noise the week before. So other than that, it wasn't that big a deal. And the way he handled it, I wasn't very surprised. I think, talking with his dad, his dad was more worried about it than he was, but his dad would never say that. And the way he came out and played early, to me, that didn't shock me, because that's the kind of person he is. And I look for him to continue to gain confidence, and the team gain confidence in him. I saw yesterday, I think he's going to start again this week. I couldn't be happier for him.
All right, Coach, thanks.
All right, thank you.